I heard a story the other day. It's truly amazing. I think it was first reported out of Arizona Family, and these two writers, they do this incredible interview with this mother who went through hell. This is a story that is showing you the future. Jennifer DeStefano is with us, and she is married and mother of 4, and she had an incredible experience when her phone rang, and she almost didn't pick it up. Jennifer, welcome to the program.
Hi, Glenn. Thank you so much for having me.
This is so crazy. When I read this, I was like, oh my gosh, this is the future. Tell me what happened.
Yeah, it was horrifying. My daughter was training for a ski race, and so she was away with my husband and my younger son, as he competes as well. And I was with my younger daughter who had rehearsal. So I got a phone call, and I saw it come up as I was getting out of my car as an unknown number. So I at first was not going to answer, but then I thought, well, that could be a medic or it could be a doctor or a hospital, and Bree is training. So, in case she got hurt, I should answer it. So I had my phone on speaker as I was carrying some things inside to meet my younger daughter at dance. And all of a sudden, my daughter, Brianna's voice says, "Mom," and she's sobbing and crying. And she has a very specific type of sob and cry. She's not a wailer. She's not a screamer. She doesn't freak out. It's very internal and controlled. And so I didn't doubt for 1 second it was her. So it's her voice saying, "Mom," and she's crying and sobbing. And I said, "What happened? What's going on?" She goes, "Mom, I messed up." And she's still sobbing and crying. So I'm thinking she got hurt. I'm like, what happened? What's going on? All of a sudden I heard a man's voice say, "Lay down, put your head back." So I thought she was being gurneyed or tobogganed or something down the mountain. And then she goes, Mom, these bad men have me. Help me, help me, help me." And this guy comes on full voice, and her in the background fades, and it's her pleading and sobbing and crying for help. And he goes, "Listen here, I have your daughter. You're not going to call the police. You're not going to talk to anybody. If you do, I'm going to pump her stomach so full of drugs. I'm going to have my way with her, and I'm going to drop her in Mexico, and you'll never see your daughter again." Even talking about it still makes me, it still gets me. But anyway, so at that point, I had her on speaker, and I was walking into my other daughter's studio, and I just started screaming for help. It was after hours. I knew my younger daughter was there with at least one teacher. I didn't know there was a couple other moms and a couple other students there. And so the moms came around me and heard all of the things that he was threatening to do and what was going on. And so one jumped on the phone and called 911 with her phone. I was trying to text my older son. I was trying to text my other kids, my daughter, find Bree. Where's Bree? What's going on? Where's your dad? Find your dad. And while shaking, the other mom went and grabbed my younger daughter's phone because my daughter was just paralyzed listening to all the things he was saying, and tried contacting my husband to find out where he was and where Bree was.
And they asked for $1 million at that point?
They asked for $1 million, which wasn't going to be possible. He got really angry with me, and then he demanded $50,000. And so I said, okay, and I wanted to talk to my daughter again. He wouldn't let me talk to her again, though. And that's when we found out from 911 that there was this AI scam going on that's being used, and that this is pretty common, which we were horrified to hear, but that gave us some hope. But still, I didn't know for sure if that was what was happening. So I asked him for wiring instructions or how he wanted me to get the $50,000 for him, and he refused to wire, and he was demanding that I was going to be personally picked up, and I was going to be transported in a van with a bag over my head with the cash to my daughter, and if we didn't have all the money, that both of us were going to be dead. And he wanted to make arrangements to come physically pick me up. So at that point, we had the police on their way, and then finally we were able to get my husband on the phone with and he was able to locate and make sure that my daughter was safe and in his possession. But her voice was so real that I didn't believe that he really had her and that she was really safe, because her voice, I was like, I just spoke to her. Well, how can she be there with you? And how can she be there with these guys? I don't understand what's going on. And my brain just could not process that, as they kept trying to reassure me that she was safe, until they finally handed me the phone and I was able to talk to her, and she reaffirmed that she was safe and she was with Dad and what's going on. And then that's when I got back on the phone with those guys and called them out on the scam, which they kept denying was a scam. And then I hung up on them.
This is incredible. So if anybody missed it in the audience, this was an AI representation of her daughter. How did they get the sound to be able to reproduce her voice?
Yeah, I've racked my brain on that. My daughter's not very big on social media, and any accounts she has is private. I mean, her TikTok account is 32 followers. So she has done some interviews, some sports interviews. She's an athlete. She does have a public photographer account from when she did some modeling for some outerwear and skiing, but not. But the voice, the crying, the sobbing is where I can't even find anything I'm not sure. And so that's what's really haunting for me, is I can't figure out that piece of the puzzle. I don't know where they got that.
I'm going to see if some of our guys can look into that, because that is disturbing that they can do that. Did they catch the guys?
They're not looking into it. So unfortunately, because there was no transaction of money and there was no physical kidnapping, there's nothing that can be done. So it's written up as a prank call.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
When I talked to the police, it was, we can have an officer call you if you feel unsafe, just to reassure you that you're safe, but there's nothing that can be done.
Wow. Did they say how often this is happening?
They did not, but they did say that this isn't the first report they've had of it, but that there's nothing that they can do. When I put it out on Nextdoor just as a warning, because I didn't know if it was targeted to our area. I didn't know where the targeting was coming from. All of a sudden, all these other people started coming forward with their stories, including my own mother called me, and she had never told me this before, but my brother's voice was used to call her to say that he had been injured in a car accident and that he needed money. And she's hard of hearing, so she asked them to keep repeating because it wasn't making sense to her. And the way they spoke to her, and they kept saying, "Mom, don't you recognize me?" that kind of tipped her off that something funny was going on. And so she told them to go find the real mother and hung up on them. But
wow.
And my brother's not anywhere. His voice isn't anywhere I can think of either. So he's my age. He's in his 40s. So it goes so far and so wide and so deep in so many different areas.
The good news is for my wife, if they kidnap me because my voice is everywhere, she'll be like, "Take him. Mexico? Fine. Can you take him further? That'd be great." Jennifer, thank you for sharing this. What an amazing story. Thank you.
Thank you for bringing awareness so we can hopefully stop this.
Yeah. Thank you. Jennifer DeStefano, she's a mom in Arizona. That is the first time I've heard of an AI crime using artificial voice.
I mean, that's going to work against a lot of people.
Oh my gosh.
Imagine how terrified you'd be, especially when they're saying you can't get off the phone. You know, you there's no way to, you're making judgments about massive life-changing decisions in moments where you're totally out of sorts.
You said to me 2 hours ago, I don't know if it was on the air or off the air, but you were like, I said, this is as powerful as the nuclear bomb when we invented it.
Right.
It's going to change the world that much, except we all have a little red button on our phone.
Yeah.
Okay. And you said, you really think it could change that? Look at the damage done today with just that. Imagine bots set out to do as many as they can of this in one day, where you have 50,000 people in America get a call like that
on the same day. And
on the same day.
You would even be able to automate the kidnappers' voices.
Yeah,
you don't
of
even
course
need
you
to
would.
have people on the other side of the phone
No.
line. Just stick the account information or whatever in there, and who knows how many people would wire $5,000, $10,000, $20,000 to try to make sure that this is not happening to their kid. And we see these hacker type of situations where state governments, city governments are paying actually the hackers. They're actually doing it when they're actually paying ransoms.
When did I say to you there's going to come a time that you won't believe your eyes or your ears?
Oh gosh, it was very early on in the show you said that, and almost all of the things that you came up with have come true, or at least are almost true.
So that was at least 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Okay, at least 20 years ago. When she said this, I didn't realize it until the middle of it. I looked at Stu off air and I said, "You won't believe your eyes." As I thought about that while she was talking, I thought of something else. Today is the day that the Sony photograph of the year.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Beautiful photograph. The guy won Photograph of the Year. It's a world competition. Photograph of the Year from Sony. And he just admitted today, I can't accept the award because that's AI. And I thought we should talk about how good AI is. Today is the day you cannot believe your eyes. Sony didn't pick it up. And you cannot believe your ears. That's bizarre.